Hey guys, welcome to Smack Talk Wrestling Reviews. I am your host, Boise, and this is Raw Review. What an episode we've got for Raw. We have an intro in a 6-woman tag team match, and we have the Shield teaming up for the first time in over a year. So with that in mind, let's hit the music. Technically, we kicked off the show with Stephanie McMahon and Triple H getting out of a limo. Stephanie being Stephanie and degrading Baron Corbin on the performance he has been doing as acting general manager. But technically, if you ask WWE, the opening segment was the Shield coming out and cutting a goddamn good promo as it is. Pretty much stating, everyone here wants to keep up with us here at the Shield. Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. That's why Brock Lesnar returned. That's why Baron Corbin put himself in a Universal title match. This obviously called out Baron Corbin and also Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman himself. But this was actually something different that we got in the opening segment. All the heels aimed what they were saying to Dean Ambrose, and instead of actually verbally abusing Dean, like heels should do in a promo, they used their brains and they tried to go, look Dean, why do you think Seth and Roman hold the gold here? If you join us, you go after the Intercontinental, we won't stop you, we will help you win that gold. AKA, look, they never cared about you. They talked about how Dean was injured. They weren't there for him. And I found this really interesting. This was so good from what, unusual WWE writing. Mainly because it brought the possibility that Dean could betray the Shield at any point during the night. Which was great because they built up on it during all night. Where you had Dolph coming back. You had Drew McIntyre backstage talking to Dean Ambrose. And I really felt like this really worked. No matter how many times you kind of went, this might happen, something might happen. And let's be honest, all three men, story-wise, will have in the back of their head, well, one of these guys will betray me. Look at what Seth did to us back in 2014. He betrayed us. And all four of these men will think that, no matter what. And Strowman, McIntyre, and Ziggler using these mind games just shows something else, added a little bit extra layer to their pack mentality. They're not just going to beat you up and destroy you, they're also going to play mind games. They're going to make you, panic. Are my friends going to betray me? What's going to happen? These are factors we've not seen in a long time in a heel factor. So this is great. I really like that. And that, and with Baron Corbin authorized to have a 6-man tag team match for the main event of the night, with him choosing any partners of his choice, really added an extra mystery to the show. It was like, who's Corbin going to bring out to take down the Shield? And all this really added to a good opening segment. With that in mind, I've got to give it an 8 out of 10. Not going to be many of those, but it's a good start to the show. So our first match of the night was Finn Balor versus Jinder Mahal, and in Finn's corner he had his new mixed match partner Bayle, and in Jinder Mahal's corner he had Sunil Singh. Of course he had Sunil Singh, and his mixed match partner Alicia Fox. Because you have to say it like that, you have to say her name exactly like that. And this was boring. This was an absolute... I've never thought I'd say this was a boring Balor match, but it was. I really feel so sorry for Finn Balor, where he's being told, you need to go out there. Just go out there and promote the mixed match challenge. Because that's exactly what this match was. It wasn't anything else. It literally was, oh, these guys are mixed match challenge partners. These guys are mixed match challenge. Everything which was going on. And even Bayle getting involved, Alicia Fox and Sunil Singh arguing outside the ring, it all was the focus on the mixed match challenge. And that's a shame, and that's just utter shame. The only upside to this is that, my God, Finn actually got the win, which is great. Bayle and Finn have always had chemistry. Look at their NXT time where everyone thought they were going out at one point. So it's kind of like, yeah, they obviously automatically have chemistry. At one point you recognise Bayle and Finn Balor as NXT. They were the faces of a brand at one point, so obviously they're going to have a great chemistry. Jinder Mahal, I just feel so sorry for him, because it's just, he's partnered up with Alicia Fox, which for me is a crime on its own. And two, they were just making him beat up Singh after he got defeated, because he got rolled up. And then you actually have to expect Singh to just beat up and start meditating? Who wants to see that? This is going to get a 5 out of 10. All it was just, like I keep saying, was just an advert for the Mixed Match Challenge on Facebook. The next matchup was a 6-woman tag team match where we had the babyface team of Natalya teaming up with the Bella Twins, Nikki and Brie, taking on the Riott Squad. Now, usually this type of match doesn't really get much coverage on Twitter, but this match alone, because what have happened, kind of blew up the Twitterverse for me. So, first things first, how was the match? The match was mediocre at all. So, there you go. If that's what you want to know, the match itself is going to get a 5 out of 10. Because one, it was uncreative, but the only best thing about it was that the only thing was the Riott Squad actually got the victory. Ruby Riott pinning Natalya, of all people. Because obviously you have to protect the Bella Twins. And yeah, it's fine. At least the Riott Squad got a victory. It makes them feel a little bit more of a threat. After all, they've been used as jobbers for every woman who's a babyface on the Raw roster for some time now. But this is the bit which I think most of us are wanting to talk about, and that's Brie Bella. Now, there's been a lot of conversations about what happened, whose fault it was. Some people are saying, well, it was Brie's. Others are saying, oh, it was Liv's because she lowered her head. You look at the video, and I had to rewind and watch this about 2 or 3 times just to kind of see what happened. Now, when Brie started doing the yes kicks, it obviously showed that she really was focusing. She was concentrating at that point. There was a point though she didn't look down, where she's looking down, keeping her eye on the opponent. At that point she didn't, and she actually lifted her leg slightly up, which knocked Liv Morgan in the head. By that point, her head was going down because she'd been kicked in the face. That's when the second kick actually came in, which people are saying, well, that's when Liv didn't lift her head. She had already been kicked in the freaking head at this point to actually make her get knocked out. Brie has stumbled along to try and pushed her into the corner to allow Ruby Riott and stuff like that. Now, I'm not saying this is Brie's fault. It's part of the game. We all understand this, and that's something which WWE say don't try this at home. And it is, there's always risk, no matter what. But if Brie Bella is this rusty, she's had a few mistakes now. Shouldn't the WWE team, as an all, just go, you know what? You're kind of causing a few issues here. We're just worried about you as well, not just the others. But maybe you should go down to the performance center and actually get some in-ring training done until you're ready. It just feels like Brie Bella has come back, and let's be honest, it's not Brie's fault. She retired so she could become a mother, and that's a noble cause. But it's just when you're dragging her back into a ring, which I don't think she's fully capable of competing in yet, and just causing mistakes. And it's not her fault. It's WWE's fault for rushing her back into the ring. And that's my own personal thing. And another thing which really annoyed me, and this is I think a lot of what annoyed a lot of fans, was the commentating team saying Liv Morgan was in the back getting treated. She wasn't. She was still ringside when she was being treated after the match. What's the point of saying that when the cameraman's already shown Liv Morgan in the corner near the ring announcement team getting treated? Just be honest, like, Liv's knocked out, and be honest. So there you go, guys. That's my 2 cents. It's a bit longer on that little segment because I had to just give what I thought actually happen. So there you go. I don't think it's anyone's fault but WWE's fault for rushing Brie Bella back into the ring. So we had a promo segment, but this was a kind of special one, and it kind of took everyone out of storytelling. And this was pretty much Connor's Cure news partner, and this is Honda, which I brilliant. Honda gave $200,000 towards Connor's Cure, and they're doing their own charity thing where I think they donated $14 million towards cancer, children's cancer. So that's great. It's an interesting. I can't really smart this bit, but it was a big segment. It took 10 minutes out of the show, but it was great to see everyone giving that big support towards these kids who are who managed to beat cancer, and that's always great. So, because the kids beat cancer, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10, just for those kids. Next up, we had Konnor versus Chad Gable. In Connor's corner, he had his tag team partner Viktor, and in Chad Gable's corner, he had his new tag team partner Bobby Roode. How was this match? Boring as hell. Absolutely waste of time. I'm just going to give it a score straight away. It's a 3 out of 10 because I honestly don't care. Konnor got the victory, which was already a shock on its own, but end of the day, no one cares about this rivalry, and everyone's just going, when is Bobby Roode going to turn heel finally? Because that's all we're waiting for, is Bobby Roode to turn heel on Chad Gable. Hopefully soon, because I can't be bothered watching any more little segments with these two. Please, for the love of God, give me Bobby Roode from NXT heel time. I'm begging you, WWE. I'm begging you right now. Next up, we actually got a title match. Yeah, we got the Raw Tag Team titles being defended by Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre, and they were taking on the Revival. Yes, don't forget they did have a title opportunity before Dolph and Drew took them out. And how was this match? I actually really enjoyed this match. It was one of my favourite matches of the night, which isn't hard, but it was really interesting to see how this went down. Because right now, both teams are technically heels. But during the match, Dawson and Wilder played the baby faces. They were in the babyface role, and I think they actually played it really well. For me, it did exactly what I wanted it to do. Yes, it showed Drew and Dolph getting the victory, which is fine. They need to hold those titles for a little bit longer until they drop it, but it did exactly what I wanted it to do for the Revival. It showed exactly why the Revival were one of the top teams in NXT at the time, and it just showed the potential. That's what you need to do. That's all you need to do with the Revival. Let them show what they can technically do, and the fans will go crazy. NXT loved the Revival. Even when they were heels, they still loved what they were able to do, and this really emulated everything which Revival are close to doing. I just want to see him have another opportunity in the future, because I think at some point they've got to hold those their Raw tag team titles, because they are a really good tag team. And if this is like an indication that we're going to get a Revival babyface, why not? They don't have to be full on babyface. Do the Becky Lynch thing. Not fully babyface, not fully heel, just right in the middle. It will work for those two. The fans will go mental because they are a good team, and if you're taking on teams like McIntyre and Ziggler, that's exactly it. Yes, there were some mistakes, but that always happens in these type of matches. It's kind of chaotic, and it did show that. Like I said, Wilder and Dawson did exactly what you want to see. They closed off the ring, they made it their own, until Dolph and Drew actually managed to get back into the match and control it at the end. It was great. For me, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. Next up, we had Bobby Lashley versus Elias, and before the match even started, we really were treated where we had the Kevin Owens show with Elias playing the music. I like this. I really like the opening part to this match. It was great. They called out Leo Rush, that's it. That's the idiot's name. And pretty much told him to come down, and Leo was like, I might be 23, but I'm not stupid. You guys are going to beat the crap out of me. And I'm just here to be the guy who introduces Bobby Lashley. This was a big pop for Bobby Lashley. Hometown really got behind him. How was the match? It was fine. It was a fine match. It wasn't anything to write home about. Literally, unless you're Bobby Lashley. The crowd seem really excited to see Bobby, which is alright. Obviously, it makes sense. He's the hometown fan. You know, boy, makes sense for them to go absolutely nuts for him. And I think Leo's doing a great job being the mouthpiece. I think it really works. I think it makes Bobby look more and more interesting as a character. And I want to see him in this tag team match at the Super Showdown, where we've got Bobby teaming up with Cena, taking on Elias and, you know, Kevin Owens. I think this will really work. I think it'll be more fun seeing how John Cena reacts to Rush's, you know, cockiness as a manager. I think it would be interesting. Bobby did win by DQ because Kevin Owens got involved. That's fine. It kind of brings a bit of heat to the match coming to the Super Showdown. So I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. It did exactly what it needed to do. Next up, we had a singles match where we saw Nia Jax versus Alicia Fox. Where Nia Jax corner we had Ember Moon and Alicia Fox. This corner we had Mickie James and Alexa Bliss. I found this interesting. It's I say interesting mainly because it was one of those matches where you go, oh, I know exactly what they're doing here. They have no plans for any other women in the Raw division. They're just going to throw them in a match. And that's exactly what it felt like. It's just like, oh, we'll throw them in a match. Just throw them in a match and see what's, you know, what surfaces. And that's it. Nia got the victory. Let's be honest. Is Alicia Fox ever going to beat Nia Jax? Oh, hell no. Unless it's a steel chair she can use. Because, let's be honest, until recently, no one even remembered Alicia Fox was on Raw until she started teaming up with Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. Shock horror. No one cares Alicia Fox is on Raw. But yeah, they're really pushing Nia Jax. It makes sense. She's been voted for all these awards for positive body image and stuff like that. So it makes sense that even though she's not going to be in main events like with the Bella Twins, I still don't understand that. And, you know, Ronda Rousey, we still managed to have a bit of, you know, oh, here you go. You know, she's still getting a bit of light shone on her, which is great. I just don't want to see Nia versus Alexa Bliss anytime soon. Keep those two away for a while until later next year. Then we can see that again. That'll be fine. But yeah, nothing really special. Nia Jax kind of dominated. It's gonna get a 5 out of 10. Last but not least, we had our main event, and it was Baron Corbin's and his surprise partners, who were AOP, taking on the Shield in a 6-man tag team match. Oh, this was a good match. Like I said, all the way through the show, Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler were speaking to Dolph and to Dean, and it was like that little thing in his head, like, is Dean gonna turn? Is Dean gonna turn tonight? Or is he going to turn later on? And that's all you kept on thinking about. And they played it up all night. And this was great. Because the majority of the match, Seth was actually in the match. He was the one who was the babyface getting punished. So that was fine. As well as AOP, which was a great heavy hitters to have as an opponent. You had Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, and Dolph Ziggler at the entranceway, sitting on chairs, watching this match, which added more drama. Like, are they going to get involved? What's going to happen? These were all questions which were fantastically put together. The match itself was brilliant. You had, like I said, you had Seth in the ring for the majority of the match. They took up Roman Reigns, which meant that the crowd really got to enjoy the match a little bit more. You know, especially the ones who are a bit snarky, like, oh, we don't want Roman. Roman was taken out quite early, right? They did exactly what they needed to do when Roman was in the ring, was have AOP look like they are not afraid of the Universal Champion, mainly because they literally stood up to Roman every time Roman tried to pull a move off. They didn't look too phased, and that's what you want. They look dominant. Next up, you had it when Dean got tagged in, the crowd went mental all the way through the night. They had to have a build-up. And this is exactly what is a good tag team match. You're building up to the guy who you've been focusing on all night finally gets tagged in and the crowd erupts, and they did. That was a great fan reaction. Dean goes crazy. He literally takes out everyone. A one-man show. Vane, Roman and Seth help him out. Then, to make it more interesting, Roman tags in just before Dean can get the victory. Spears Baron Corbin. Dean takes out, does a suicide dive, taking out AOP to make sure they don't get involved. And then this is an interesting thing. This is really good writing, I think. You got Dean laid on the barrier. You've got Seth and Roman holding the titles, hugging each other. You have Drew McIntyre, Dolph Ziggler, Braun Strowman on the front entranceway. I mean, you get Dean in the middle between these two, and this was really good. Dean's looking at, and everyone's going, no. Some people going, do it, betray him. Others like, don't do it. Dean looks, there's like a hesitation, and it's really good selling by Dean Ambrose right there. Hesitates, looks back, jumps into the ring, fist bumps the Shield, gives the signal. The Shield are united. But for now, this was really well. This really worked out for me. I really like this. Baron Corbin, they protected AOP, made him look strong as well. It may be the end for Baron Corbin's GM. Who cares? That storyline of will Dean turn? Who will turn on the Shield? That's the question. Really like that. And it was fantastic. Well put together. And at the end, all that just worked perfectly. For me, this gets a 9 out of 10. Really good main event. And there you go, guys. That was Raw for this week. What did I think? I thought from the beginning, the end, and the middle, you know, it was fine. It was not great. It wasn't great. So most of the matches, you're like, oh, right, yeah. Brie Bella making the mistakes, yeah. It just felt like it just felt really worse. But for sure, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed a majority of the Shield stuff and the Dean Ambrose backstage stuff. That really enjoyed. Everything else, I just was, who cared? Didn't really care. Just can we get on with it? That's how it felt. And that's a shame. Raw really it feels like it's limping his Raw right now. And you can understand why a lot of people are tuning out to watch NXT and SmackDown right now over Raw. Bit of a shame. I'm gonna be really harsh right now. I'm gonna give that episode a 6 out of 10. Even though the main event was fantastic, it couldn't save the show as an all, and that's the worst bit. So there we go. What did you guys think of this week's episode of Raw? Leave it in the comments below. If you do like the videos, don't forget to like, subscribe, and press the bell to keep notified, because obviously you want to keep up with all these great videos. And if you want to follow the channel on Twitter, you can do. It's at Smack Talk YouTube. That's Smack Talk and a U and a tube. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's Boise88. And I'll see you guys next time on the next Smack Talk Wrestling Reviews.